what is up? My name is Katherine and welcome back to my channel. Happy 2020! Took a little mini vacation during the holidays and during that time I saw Little Women several times. I love Little Women. It's been a story that I've not only grown up with, but I feel like has grown with me. As I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate and understand different parts of the story. Ooh, question of the day. Which March sister or any other character in the Little Women canon, franchise, series do you identify with the most? Let me know in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into this no makeup look March sister tutorial. Let's geek out about Little Women, because let's be real, geeking out is what I do best. Everyone, please give a warm welcome back to my naked face returning on the internet. Step 0 of any good makeup look, especially a no makeup look, is washing your face. It just kind of brings a brightness, a cleanliness, and your skin will just appear so much more alive, for lack of a less creepy term. Moving right along, gonna prep my lips using the Glossier Mint Balm.com, and I'm prepping my eyes using the Glossier Stretch Concealer in the shade Light. I laughed so hard the other day on Twitter. I saw that Erica Henningsen, who plays Katie in the Broadway production of Mean Girls the Musical, tweeted a joke about seeing Little Women and asking if they were all sponsored by Glossier because they all just look like so rosy and their skin but better, and that destroyed me because I'm like, oh my god, that's so true. They all totally look like they're wearing Glossier. So I guess I'll be using a lot of Glossier to try to recreate their look. Also, if you like Glossier or if you shop Glossier and you want to save money on Glossier, how many times can I say Glossier in one sentence? I have a discount code, so I'll put that in the description box down below. You save money and it directly helps support the geeky content that I make here on the internet, so check it out. So now it's time to set that concealer with a loose translucent powder. This one is from Dermablend. Gonna just sweep that over with a big fluffy brush, and then I'm going to take the OG Naked palette, may she rest in peace, and I'm going to take the shade Naked, which is a neutral, slightly darker than my own skin tone shade, and I'm gonna buff that in using a big fluffy brush, really focusing on the outer portion of the lid, and I don't want to bring it up too high because that's going to cut off the brightness. I'm also going to use a little bit of blush as eyeshadow. This is the Tarte Amazonian Clay Blush in the shade Exposed. Something that I really specifically loved about Greta Gerwig's new film adaptation of Little Women is Florence Pugh's Amy. I feel like she really shines in this film. Florence Pugh gives her dimension, and Greta's script gives her depth, pain, and intelligence beyond just her charisma. This adaptation actually made me love and understand Amy, and it made me root for Amy and Laurie as a couple, which is a sentence I never thought I would say in a trillion million years. I think what worked so well was seeing Amy and Laurie interact as adults first. We got to see their chemistry and growth and how well they actually fit together. In fact, we don't even see a ton of Laurie even being lovesick over Joe until it was almost time for he and Amy to get together. I think their relationship works so well because we actually got to see them grow together and see how they live out in the real world, something we usually don't get a ton of. In this version, Amy doesn't seem like a consolation prize. She's the obvious choice that Laurie was too blind to see. Speaking of Laurie, let's talk Timothy's interpretation. He was so unpathetic and I absolutely loved it. I feel like I've seen a lot of milquetoast Lauries who are so boring and geeky and safe that of course Joe would never fall in love with him. Real quick, I'm gonna go in with the Kat Von D Tattoo Liquid Liner in the shade Mad Max Brown, and I'm going to line that super close to my lash line. In fact, I'm actually going to go in between my individual lashes to really get it in there. This step is just personal preference. I like my eye shape a little bit better with just a tiny bit of eyeliner. I'm also going to line my waterline using this NYX pencil. This is going to help open up my eyes and give them a little bit of brightness. I'm returning to the OG of mascaras. This is the Maybelline Great Lash, and I don't think I've put one of these on since maybe 6th grade. I wanted to do this mascara for two specific reasons. One, all of my mascaras are black. This one is actually in the shade brown because I wanted it to look a little more natural and a little less harsh against my skin and my hair. Reason number 2, the wand and the formula in this mascara do something very specific. I feel like a lot of my mascaras really volumize and try to give that falsy effect, which is what I usually like, but that's not what we're going for here. I feel like this mascara lifts and separates in a very natural way and in a way that opens up and brightens my eyes and kind of gives me that Disney Little Women-y effect. So as I was saying, Timothy's Laurie was charming, offbeat, silly, kind, the kind of guy that you could potentially see being perfect. And I loved that they showed his privilege in smaller ways. They didn't make him totally blind to it or like he was purposefully taking advantage of it. It's just the way that he lives his life. A moment I really loved was Laurie's proposal scene. It's not the big climactic setup and letdown that other adaptions have framed it as. It's something that's been simmering beneath the surface that both of them have been too afraid to touch. I think that that is so much more realistic to any kind of relationship. I thought it was really realistic that we got to see Laurie rebounding and making all the kind of bad decisions you make when you're heartbroken, because it really reinforced that Amy wasn't the rebound. She is her own love affair. The way that Beth's relationship with Laurie's grandfather was explored in this adaptation was really interesting. The choice to make Laurie's grandfather less harsh and frightening was brilliant. You know, sometimes he's portrayed as like a Dickensian villain that I would never in a million years allow alone in a mansion with an underage girl, but here he was just lonely. If you want more of a deep dive on Beth, I'd highly recommend checking out the PBS miniseries. They really dive into Beth's character, her anxiety, who she is. It's a really interesting take on the character. Straight up, I feel like Laura Dern didn't get enough screen time. We got like 2 really great scenes and that was it. I know that there are obvious time constraints on a film, but I think Marmee is so strong and such a role model for her girls that it would have been nice to see a little more of the woman who influenced her Little Women. And now I sound like an after-school special. I also feel like Meg and John Brooks suffered quite a bit in this version as well. You know, for a long time I denied my Amy-ness by masquerading as a Meg, and I kind of feel like they did my girl dirty. They gave her like one great line and then totally forgot about her. I just realized I didn't answer the question of the day. I am 1000% an Amy. It's something that I tried to deny for a very long time because I didn't fully understand her. I think I was so taken aback with her negative qualities that now that I've actually seen an accurate portrayal of who Amy is and that there's so much more to her, I feel much more comfortable accepting my Amy identity, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm an Amy because I'm driven, I'm ambitious, I do what needs to get done, but I also definitely have a little bit of that only child syndrome. I am an only child and I like being taken care of. I can be a little bit overdramatic. I like pretty things, and I don't think that's a bad thing to say. I think being surrounded by beauty and things and people that make you happy and make you smile is what life is about. And I think for a long time I saw that as vanity, and I feel like that was kind of always played up in Amy. But there's a really great quote that Louisa May Alcott, who wrote the book of Little Women, was talking about her sister, who she based Amy on, that she was an artist as well and loved beautiful things because she found the beauty in the world. And I think that's such a great way to explain that part of myself. Ooh, speaking of art, let's talk about the colors in this film. I loved the use of the cooler tones to explain the bleakness of the present, the warmth and soft glow of nostalgia in the past. Ooh, real quick, I'm setting my whole face except for my cheeks because I'm going to go in with a natural liquid blush. That's the Cloud Paint from Glossier, my favorite liquid blush. I'm going in with 2 different shades to mix a custom shade, so I'm using Beam and Puff. And I'm gonna go in with a slightly heavier hand because it looks so natural and it blends so seamlessly with your skin. It truly makes you just look like you're glowing from the inside out. And I really want the cheeks and the rosiness to be the star of this look. I love how each of the sisters had a signature color. You know, Meg had green, Jo was red, Beth was purple, and Amy was blue. I loved in Jo's scene with Professor Bayer when he reads her novel, she's trying to be lovely and delicate and cute, and she's wearing blue. She's channeling Amy. And then when she snaps and storms out, she puts her scarf back on, and guess what color it is? It's a red pattern because she's done trying to be someone else. I think that's one of my favorite things when it comes to musical theater costuming. The use of color is used so much more structurally, I think, because you're further away from the characters, so seeing that color, seeing who it's associated with, really gives you such an impact on the character itself, and I think that's something that we don't get a ton of in film, or at least when it is done, it's used on such a more subtle level. The overall aesthetic of this film is simply stunning, and I think it's something that the recent PBS miniseries of Little Women started to touch on as well. The warmth, the sweeping landscapes, flowing hair, flower crowns, running barefoot, sunsets. It's a stunning visual representation of childhood nostalgia and freedom. And it's so funny because obviously I didn't grow up in Massachusetts and I'm an only child and I don't think I've ever run barefoot anywhere because I'm terrified of getting tetanus. but something about this story of Little Women and the way that it's been recently presented makes me long for something that I never had in my childhood, and I think that's such a testament to the visual storytelling and the aesthetics of these adaptions. For lips, I'm mixing the shades Zip and Cake in the Generation G lipstick by Glossier. If you try anything from Glossier, let it be Boy Brow and the Generation G lipsticks. I'm someone who's always had such like a weird problem with lipstick, like I've always felt so clowny and cakey when I wear it and just not pretty. The Generation G lipsticks are so weightless, it's almost kind of like a stain, like you ate a popsicle or something, but it doesn't feel like you're wearing any lipstick. Anyway, they are totally fantastic and my absolute favorite. Something that didn't really work for me in Little Women was the physical visual change for the girls over time. You know, it kind of looked like the story took place over the course of a year or two instead of 6 or 7, and I'm not just talking about Amy, I'm talking about everyone. Overall, I am just so impressed and so in love with this film. I feel like Greta Gerwig really breathed new life into this story. I have such a deep affection and appreciation for not only her work on this film, but just what she did for this story. You know, I love Little Women, and even though I know that the musical isn't everyone's favorites, and I 1000% get that, I love it because I am dying to direct a production of it because I have such a specific vision of what I would like to do with the text and the material and the story, and I loved seeing Greta's take on it, and I think it was absolutely beautiful and painful and just A+. I really hope that the Academy recognizes her work, and I'm really sad that the Golden Globes didn't. Absolutely loved Little Women. If you haven't checked it out, what are you doing? Go see Little Women in theaters now. This is not sponsored, but Little Women, if you want to sponsor me, please sponsor me because I am your #1 fan. Also, I wanted to say thank you to you guys. If you follow me on Instagram, which shameless plug, follow me on Instagram if you don't, I did a post about Little Women and how I wanted to do a video, and I ended up trashing my original video, and so many of you guys rallied behind me to talk about this thing that means so much to me. And I wanted to say thank you for being my friend and like wanting to hang out and geek out with me about this thing that I love so very dearly. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was still effectively just 12 minutes of me going, yay Greta Gerwig! So there you guys go, I hope you enjoyed this video all about Little Women. Again, if you want to shop Glossier and save some money, I'll put my link in the description down below. It helps support the geeky content that I make here on the internet, so thank you in advance. Also, if you're new here, hit subscribe. It's a lot of fun and we should be friends. I hope you guys are having a great day. I love you so much. Break a leg and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!